Hello and welcome to the SHRMLabs WorkplaceTech Spotlight. My name is Hadeel Al-Tashi, manager at SHRMLabs. I will be your host for this SHRMLabs series where we shine a spotlight on some of the most interesting future of work, innovators, innovations, and issues of today. For those of you watching on LinkedIn, other social media platforms, please use this hashtag SHRMLabs, workplace tag, and don't forget to tag SHRM in the conversations online. Today, we're going to be talking about the potential ripple effect of open enrollment. Despite being a crucial touch point, open enrollment often becomes a rushed and a transactional event. Many HR teams struggle to break free from this annual cycle, missing opportunities to create meaningful connections with the workforce. The challenge lies in shifting open enrollment from a one-time task to a continuous value-driven process. Today, we will dive into how reimagining open enrollment can lead to better outcomes for employees and employers. Joining us to talk about this conversation and topic is Amy Nelli, co-founder of Rock Enrollment. Hi, Nelli. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited for this conversation. So before we get started, Amy, we always ask our guests, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and about your company, Rock Enrollment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been 25-year plus. It's hard for me to use that plus sometimes, but 25 plus years in the employee benefits industry, and multifacets of that, from being on the broker side, which we'll talk a little bit about today, to tech, to real niche enrollment piece of the industry too. So that's a little bit about me on a professional level. Rock Enrollment is building a first-in-class workforce care platform. And when I got the vision for workforce care platform, it dawned on me that, I wouldn't say dawned, but I did a lot of, deep thinking about this topic. And I recognized how hard it was going to be to build this workforce care platform, given how burnout HR leaders are. So what we really want to do as a company, in addition to helping with solving all these problems in the workforce around benefits and around care, we also really want to be able to support and inspire HR that they actually can use this to create a ripple effect and really actually build a lot of momentum and excitement around their job that currently they probably feel like is very burdensome.
Love it. So Amy, why do you feel, tell me a little bit about why do you feel individual employers need to value open enrollment?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So the majority of my career I spent as an insurance broker, employee benefits broker / advisor. So I worked with a lot of employers, mainly helping them with self-funded plans, larger employers to, find ways to carve healthcare costs down. And what I recognized over the years was what you said earlier about it being something that people don't look forward to at all, right? So there was just dread around open enrollment. But what I also realized in this disconnected world that we're kind of living in right now, and as employees are more dispersed and we don't connect as much as we typically have historically, that the insurance industry has actually done employers a favor, because there is this captive moment during the year where employees have to go make decisions. So it's just the most incredible opportunity to get closer to your workforce and start to build a culture of care through the delivery of benefits and the making of the choices that they have to make. Education is just paramount in this topic. We're living in an environment where the buyer really has a lot of resources. So employees don't want to be sold so much. And I think I grew up earlier in the industry, people were kind of sold benefits. We're definitely coming into a season where people want to feel safe and feel like they can trust the buying environment they're in. And that's really what open enrollment is. It's this offering of options to employees. And so I think the more we can think about it, the consumer, we're going to have a better outcome for the entire organization around employee engagement.
Amy, so this is, we're talking about shifting something that goes against the norm. Where do you start?
Yeah. Well, I think first you have to start with really getting authentic with yourself as the leader of benefits, or even that might have some, awareness around benefits in your organization, to say, how do we really feel and think about benefits? What do we think about them?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think so oftentimes they're a line item on a balance sheet, and they're a necessity, right? People say, oh, we have to have them. And one of my absolute all-time, anybody that knows me knows that one of my all-time favorite questions to ask HR leaders and organizations is, why do you offer benefits? So often I get just blank stares back, like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, just tell me, like, why do you offer them? And so I think starting there, it's fascinating. Most organizations don't have a document or something that they could reference quickly to say, we offer benefits because we want to attract, or we want to retain, or we have specific measurement even.
Mm-hmm.
So I really encourage employers to start creating a strategy around benefits. Don't just let them drive you. You drive the benefit strategy. And I think we're moving away from this reaction towards, we've got to really get control and say, are these proving to be beneficial? And then measuring those, Hadeel, too. If you can't measure the success of your benefits, it's really, I would question why you're even doing it, if you don't know if they're actually having an impact. And then the other part would be just, how do you communicate your benefits? So oftentimes there's so much work that goes into just getting all the proposals back, putting it all together in a package and getting it out to the employee. But then the actual experience is so lackluster once it gets to the employee,
Mm-hmm.
that they're not excited about it either. So you can imagine, we've got burnout HR people delivering the open enrollment, which is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
The employees are not going to recognize that that's something you care about if the ecosystem is there's a value chain breakdown there. And I would also say, Hadeel, treating them like they're active and they're living. Benefits are like a living, breathing thing. They're not just transactional and just dead once it's over, open enrollment's over, right? They're always open. They're always available.
I love that. It is important to be, proactive and measuring and connecting it to different goals and objectives is really crucial, just to get everyone excited about it too, right?
Right.
And it's not just something that's like a checkbox, like, oh, we've done it or got it. Yeah. So I do appreciate you mentioning that. So Amy, with your background, what does supporting the workforce mean to you?
So for me, it's kind of interesting, because I think it's thinking more about people, right? Like, benefits should be, we really need to holistically think about a person's life and what are all the places where they're impacted. So it's beyond policies and procedures, right? It's really holistically thinking about human beings and what their basic needs are. And then also, again, and I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I think it's getting HR to think about their own self. So if I think about myself as the HR leader and I'm like, gosh, I have all these areas of my life I'm not supported. Well, that's going to continue to trickle into the workforce. So we got to start with these HR leaders saying, I need some support, and maybe start thinking about, if I need support in certain areas, there's a big possibility that my workforce does too. So that would be one thing. I just think we have to continue to help with this HR burnout. I want to get HR people inspired to think, what, we're actually building a culture of care. And I think if they can think about it from that lens of I want to be the champion for care within our organization, I believe their burnout is going to start diminishing, because they're going to feel inspired. They're going to quit looking at the task, and they're going to start looking at the actual holistic impact to an individual.
How have you seen this play out, Amy?
So, it's so fun, because at Rock Enrollment, and it's funny thinking about this show, because we're kind of our own lab. We get the opportunity to test things out on our own team. So one way that I see that play out is really understanding what my employees value. That's not always easy, but if I don't understand what really, what they care about, it's going to be really hard for me to deliver care back to them. So I don't ever want to assume that anything that we're doing is, like you said, we're just checking a box, like, oh, we just offer medical insurance, or we just offer life insurance and we're good. I really want to be thoughtful about what is it that we can do to show them we care. One thing that we do at Rock Enrollment and we're still evolving. We're definitely, there's no perfection. We're still trying to figure out like, what does that recipe look like? But we have just an example. We have a young employee who is just an amazing contributor to our team. She has young children. It's been a crazy summer. Their summer schedules have been crazy. Hers have been. I've been very supportive of her, just her her being flexible and us being flexible with her. Additionally, she's very passionate about an Etsy store that she has. And so I encourage that because I know that if she's getting, that's a part of the health, right? Like she's tapping into creativity. And so when she's tapping into creativity, it shows in her work. And so that we have other employees that have their own communities or they run lacrosse camps. I just really want to encourage them to think about their life even beyond work so that we can really, just recognize that there are things outside of work and how do I show interest in that? Another example is with our young employee, her husband was traveling. She had been sick. Her kids had been sick. So we sent her dinner one night. So it's not always, I think the big thing is there's a lot of great things in insurance that I'm a proponent of, but there's just so many other little things that we can do as organizations to support and foster a culture of care.
I love that. I love how personal, you are in taking care of employees, but like for organizations that are big, right? With hundreds and hundreds of employees, what advice do you have for them when it, every HR professional wants to get that, have that personal connection with each employee, but then it just gets, and you talked about HR being so burnt out, any advice you have for them when they get at that level?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So we obviously have a unique situation that we still have a small enough team where I can kind of have a pulse on some of those things. And then also there's going to be things in every organization where an employee is not going to they're just not going to be the person that's going to open up to those type of things. Right. So in that regard, I would say that going back to kind of this holistic idea is really sitting down and I like to map things. And so, putting on paper, like, what do we do right now? And then for every benefit that you have in your organization, and it could be something you're not even thinking about. There's something you're probably doing as an organization that is beneficial to your employee that you don't even realize. You're not calling it a benefit, but they actually really value that. So I would sit down and look at the different areas of health. So for us at Rock Enrollment, the way we think about that is physical health, mental health, financial, spiritual, intellectual, and familial health. There are more probably, but those are the 6 areas that we focus on. And so I would start just putting those in a category and looking at your benefits and saying, how are we supporting individuals in these certain categories? And if there are gaps, I would start working towards, okay, there's some holes here, and start looking at what sponsors are available. I think you're aware, Hadeel, we have a store that we help curate different vendors and products and services. And sometimes those things are even free. There's some amazing free resources. Our team can help with that. There's a lot of other resources, but it's really finding the gap and saying, what do employees actually value? We talk a lot about at Rock Enrollment, it's kind of a foundational comment for us, that people cannot value what they don't understand. Mm-hmm. So in addition to looking at the map and just where are the gaps, you probably have benefits that employees don't even value because they don't understand them, which is why it's so important to treat benefits as a year-round engagement. So instead of it being just about open enrollment, and again, amazing what the insurance industry has done for us, because they've said, you have to do this. We have to have this for underwriting purposes. We need to know this person is going to do this when. But that's just your catalyst for so much more. So I think starting there with thinking about those areas of health, thinking back about why you offer benefits to begin with, and shake the ones that aren't working. Like, don't just keep stuff around because you've had it forever. Like, really be honest and say, is this benefiting the workforce? If it's not, I would say cut it. And probably your employees may not even notice. So if your employees would not notice if a benefit was gone, then I wouldn't spend the energy to administer it, just personally. Mm-hmm. I also think, Hadeel, engaging the household is a huge opportunity. So we came up with this really fun idea. Our team did. I didn't come up with it, but they came to me and said, hey, Amy, we want to create a benefits date night. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Tell me more. So they have this whole thing they've conjured up for next month where our clients can offer to their spouses and families to come to this fun little date night that they're going to do to talk about benefits. Because so many times, if there are people at home, an employee's going to take that information home, they want to, and talk through it. So we're just trying to make it fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So making it fun, engaging the family, making sure that you have lots of channels of communication available to the employees. You know, we're with lots of generations in the workforce, lots of different ways you can communicate with people. Just get creative and have fun with it. I mean, I think it's so much fun, but I know I'm a little bit on the, an outlier, but it can be a blast.
I love that. And you're so enthusiastic about Amy. I feel like not a lot of people are at your energy level.
I want them to catch the energy around it.
I love it. I love it. So Amy, any valuable resources you can share with the audience today that are tuning in?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody can message me. We distribute mainly through the brokerage community, and we work with a lot of organizations, all different sizes. So we also don't discriminate on size. So I go to our website, rockenrollment.com. We have an amazing event coming up in a couple of weeks. I think it's sometime in September. Sorry, I forgot to write the date down, but you can look on our website, rockenrollment.com. It's a vision boarding workshop for HR leaders. And we do that to help them go through these areas of health. It is so inspiring. We have an amazing team that puts that on. It'll really start to begin to lay the framework for how you can think about benefits, but you got to start with yourself. So go do that work, go invest the time and energy, sign up for that. It's free. It's complimentary to everybody that was on the SHRMLabs and that's watching. So yeah, we'd love to help be a catalyst towards a culture of care. And using open enrollment this year, don't let another open enrollment just pass you by. There's so many opportunities. So there's other stuff there too. We've got some other content there that you can pull down and get ideas. And of course, again, I'm always open to talk about this topic. I just want to inspire people to leverage what they already have to do and take something that they have to do and make it a really transformational experience for their workforce.
Amy, thank you so much for this wonderful and insightful conversation. I appreciate you sharing your insights with us, your energy, and the resources as well. There were definitely a lot of good, golden nuggets there. So thank you again for your time. To the audience. Yeah, absolutely. And the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this session. If you'd like to learn more about Rock Enrollment and how they're innovating in the workplace, please visit their website at www.rockenrollment.com. If you've enjoyed this session, share it, tag SHRM, use the hashtags SHRMLabs, WorkplaceTech, and visit our website at SHRMLabs.com to stay up to date with our events, upcoming events, and resources. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. We hope you have a lovely day. Take care.